You're muted.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for an eventful Vengeance Day post show. I'm dealing with some issues with my throat right now. I apologize. I am OLED Ed Fries, and I'm joined by the one and only, the natural Astrid Pizarro, who is still in her waiting line to try and buy Taylor Swift's stuff. Who cares? Who knows? Why you have to get it right now? Why there's a 50-minute wait for it? Who the fuck knows? But you know what? Who cares? Because it's Vengeance Day. And the Nostradamus himself, Mark Talks Plays, is here. Here I am. What a show. Yeah. You technically got things wrong. Melo didn't technically screw him during the match. Not really.
Oh, gosh.
Not really. But we're here to talk about Vengeance Day. Astrid, what did you think of Vengeance Day tonight?
I mean, you said it yourself. It's eventful. I like how we went from I like how the openers were good, and I don't want to say the matches are bad, but they were okay. And then the women's match happened, and everything happened in that match. And then I was occupied with my Taylor stuff, so I missed Femi and Dragon Lee a little bit there, most of it. And then the main event happened. I'm like, how do I recover from this?
Well, you know what? We may be doing okay, but we're sending our love and our prayers to one man in particular right now. Victor Taylor Perry, I'm so sorry. We were right the whole time. I've seen your Twitter page. You're not in a good place. If you are watching and you want to come on, just hit me up on Twitter. I'll send you the link. We can talk about this in a safe space. We can talk about this in a safe space, Victor. It's okay. Anyways, let's get on to the show. We started the show with the Dusty Cup Finals. I'll be honest, Baron Corbin's entrance, underwhelming.
Okay.
It was nothing special. Him and Bron came in on bikes.
I mean, hasn't he done that before when he was by himself anyway? So
he's done it for the last 3 shows that he's been on PLEs for. Nothing special.
Yeah.
He made a big to-do about it. I don't know. Wolf Dogs versus Trick Mellow Gang. Wade is here to fill in for Booker.
That was a lot better.
I missed Wade. But no. Astrid, your thoughts on the opening match here for the Dusty Cup?
No, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad it was the opener for sure. It was a good back and forth between both teams. My favorite part is having those moments of we have that, as I call it, the trick hot tag during the match in itself. And when Bron is throwing Baron to trick Mello in itself. And even the ending of having Mello take that spear for Trick at the end. Trick is almost there to break the pin up, but he doesn't. And we have Bron pinning Carmelo to win the Dusty Cup in the end. Yeah, my feels. This is when I knew it was the downfall of everything that was going to start happening.
I mean, we talked about it on the pre-show yesterday, this afternoon. We recorded yesterday. It went up live today. I'm not going to be able to get my days right. So yesterday when we recorded with Shay, we talked about how the finish of this match was going to tell me how the rest of this night was going to go.
Yep.
Seeing Trick Mello lose here, I knew that meant that at some point at the end of the night, Mello was going to turn on Trick. We knew that was coming at some point, and I said if they don't win, it was going to be here. The match was great, though. Let's not, our disappointment of Trick Mello Gang being broken up aside. This match was fantastic from start to finish. Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker are an incredible tag team. They work so well together. They have such an innovative style when meshed together. Because neither is ultra flashy when they're by themselves. But there's something special that comes out when they're together. That I thoroughly enjoy. And Mello taking the spear for Trick. It hurt because I knew what it meant. The moment he got speared, I knew we were in for sadness. But no, congratulations to the Wolf Dogs. They are the 2024 Dusty Cup winners. They will be taking on the Family at some point in the near future. I'm going to guess March 5th that roadblock is going to be that tag team title match. At that point, Braun Breaker will likely already be a main event star. Will have signed to one of the two brands, I would imagine, since he already has his SmackDown contract in hand, and he needs to go hear what Adam Pearce has to say on Raw. We then get a video package for the women's title match, and I was like, "Oh, we're going second. That's a surprise." No. We get Dijak versus Gacy. This match ruled. This was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. Taking out the toys as a father and as somebody who's been a boy himself with Legos and army men and die-cast cars. That shit hurts when you step on them. There's a special kind of pain reserved in hell for these kinds of toys. And when he set them up on that table, I was like, oh my God. I loved a lot of the little spots in this because they made, hello, Barry, thank you for joining us. They made a lot of this make sense tonight with Dijak constantly saying, feast your eyes. So Joe Gacy takes out duct tape and he tapes Dijak's eyes closed. And then the kendo stick spot is so great there because Dijak can't see him. But then still blindfolded, essentially, Dijak gets a hold of Gacy at one point and still delivers a perfect feast your eyes, which just shows you how good Dijak really is.
Yep.
To be able to hit that feast your eyes perfectly while being blindfolded. And then the pain of removing the tape. Because anybody who's ever got duct tape on their arm, especially us men who have like the hairy arms, like it hurts like hell when you rip it off and there's hair there. And so like the idea that he's removing it from his head, that pain is real. I thought Gacy did fantastic here. And then the upside down, hitting the nightstick with the upside down during the upside down was fantastic. And then he hits the feast your eyes and we get the 3. But the protection of Gacy, to have Gacy looking up at him and smiling still. Mm-hmm. Like he's not really defeated because he's still there laughing at you after you've beaten him. It was a well-told story. And Barry's right. A three-pin UK plug. I've seen them. I can imagine how much that would hurt. Astrid, your thoughts on the no disqualification match here?
This reminds me when you're standing on a Lego when you're walking and you don't even realize until you stand on it and you actually like step on it. Oof. That is very painful, as small as it sounds. No, like you mentioned that spot and like that Gacy cannonball to the outside as well. When like the part of him duct taping him. I love seeing that, and like when he's able to do his finisher, even when he's getting duct taped, I just love that part so much. And like you said, thinking of like when he took the duct tape off and he saw like Gacy hanging from the turnbuckle with upside down there. There's like those kind of mind games that he usually does. It's nothing new to us, but I love seeing it though, and it was so fun just seeing that in the match in itself, and just thinking like you said of like that pin. He's still smiling at the end when the pin is happening, so it's like it's typical Gacy for us, but it's nice to see this in a match because we haven't seen him having this kind of spotlight in quite a while. I even pointed out to you, I love how he has still kept like the same music that he's had before with the group. And even the entrance is just a couple of different faces of him, but with the yellow mask like they did in the group as well. So I like seeing that as part of the entrance still happening. But I like how even at the end he still has a smile. So I wonder if that's going to come up later on of him wanting a rematch or like somehow with an excuse in that aspect, but still such a fun match.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting match, and it came out with a nice ending. We then move on to OTM taking on the family. The family attacks from behind during their music to get the jump on them. Otherwise, this match was whelming. I wasn't overwhelmed. I wasn't underwhelmed. I was just whelmed. To take a line from one of my favorite movies, and if you don't know what it is, I'm not going to tell you. But I thought this match was fine. I would have rather had it on a weekly NXT.
Yep.
And maybe give Dijak and Gacy 5 more minutes. You probably could have even given Lyra and Roxanne another 5 minutes.
There you go. Check out complete.
Okay. I'm so glad that you and your family now all have 5 copies of Taylor Swift's new album, which is just like the old album.
It's only 2, okay?
It's the same as the old album.
No, this is a complete new one, so.
Sure it is. I'm absolutely certain.
It really is. Anyway.
Okay. Talk to me about OTM versus the family here.
Well, I wanted to bring up the part here, unless you want to bring it up later with the Chase U calendar, or you want to put them all together?
I didn't have that there was this, that part was in this part of the shirt, but we can do that all at one and later on.
Yeah. So yeah, for this one, I feel like you said it was just like a 5 match. There was nothing like particularly like amazing to it or anything like that. I did like the part that Jaida is standing up to. I think it was Tony, if I'm not mistaken. That's when Rizzo comes in. But I feel like Jaida looked better than Rizzo for sure. I did like Rizzo's gear, but like there was nothing that I could say that I'm like, oh, Rizzo's good. Like I want to see more from her. There wasn't really much I could see from her. I feel like Jaida was much better in this aspect of it. But I did like that. Like they came in from behind, trying to get some kind of advantage over them. You know, the faces in the group, in the match, and if I'm not mistaken, the way I've always seen them. But and the only part that I really liked from Adrianna was when she launched herself onto ATM outside. But nothing new here with the D'Angelo's winning at halofating. I think I said it during the preview too. Either the girls getting a pin on each other or the guys winning it like this, because I wasn't expecting OTM to win this match unless it was Jaida picking up the win for them. But D'Angelo's won at the end.
Yeah, Mark's definitely right here with they made OTM look better. The family helped them a lot, but at the end of the day, it wasn't anything to write home about. Mm-hmm. We have Kiana James and Izzy doing the video package, and at this point, I don't know who, I don't know why. Whenever I look at Izzy, she reminds me of somebody, and as soon as somebody says it, I'm going to know it. But for the life of me, I can't put my finger on it. Not that y'all can see me right now anyways. There's nothing to this video package. It was a waste of time. They called out, I think they called out Kalani Jordan.
Yeah, she was just saying, like, thinking of, like, oh, we have, like, a list, I guess, of targets in a way. And the only person she really named was Kalani. She's like, I would do anything. It's like, yeah, do anything you have to do, like, basically to get rid of her on my way to the championship match and the title picture. And Izzy's like, well, it is what it is, her line, which I don't like anyway, but yeah.
Yep, it is definitely a segment. We then got Trick and Mello backstage, where Trick tells Mello that he wants him ringside for the main event, which was another sign of the incoming apocalypse. But no, I like this. Mello made a lot of sense in this segment where he talks about, you know, if it was good at that point, if you take the shot or I take the shot, one of us, we're losing either way. So I might as well take the shot for you so you have a chance later on tonight. And I'm like, okay, that's not what I expected to hear, but cool. All right. Just another fantastic moment here from Trick and Mello. You know, just being the bestest of boys right down to the very end. Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez / Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez versus Lola Vice. As Lola Vice cashes in, thank God, her breakout contract. We do not have to worry about pushing her for another 6 months of that contract. Thank God. However, I will say the one thing I noticed about this match, the only thing that I have to say about this, because again, otherwise it was a fine match. Nothing great, nothing fantastic. Just fine. When Lola came out there, it added a bit of excitement and worry. But this is the match, and this is the Lola Vice that I wanted to see 6 months ago when she started here.
Thank you.
Using submission, using kicks, making her feel like an MMA fighter. Finally, they did it. It took breaking in the middle of a match with the breakout contract and losing to do it, but I'm glad they finally did it. Barry's not wrong. This match was boring until the others got involved. I was not feeling Lyra versus Roxanne in this match. Maybe it's just me and Barry. I don't know. What did you think, Astrid? You are indeed the Taking Over women's wrestling expert.
I wouldn't say expert. No, I understand where you guys are coming from because it wasn't anything that was like spectacular of me, like, oh yeah, I want to see this match again. But I don't want to say it was boring. It was just like I felt like I think like we automatically knew that Lyra was gonna retain, having that it was her versus Roxanne automatically. But once Lola got added to the mix, you're like thinking, Lola's in here, so what's gonna happen? Because we still have the factor of Tatum there, and we still have the, if you think about the factor that Femi cashed in on his championship match and he won it, so you never know if they're gonna do the same thing with Lola either. Even though we don't think she's there, but still, you never know the way they're gonna go when it comes to creative. So I think adding that part of it, it's like what made it more like, oh, I feel like now not only do we have the chances of Lyra retaining a little bit lower, but the fact that we have somebody else in this match kind of makes you think of like, then it's not going to be the same way we expected it, which is Lyra retaining. And I feel like that's why, in the sense of like why Barry's saying it was more until the others got involved, because it felt like predictable up until we got Lola getting in there. It felt really predictable because once I heard her music. But yeah, it just felt like it was kind of predictable until that happened, and then when Lola got involved, I was just like, are they gonna pull the trigger on this and have Lola win it now by by pinning Roxanne? Because imagine that's huge as it is, pinning Roxanne. But then I was like, where is she gonna pin Lyra? And then I kept thinking, when is Tatum gonna get involved? Because she's there, but we still haven't seen her presence in the match in itself. And then she comes out, and when Lola's making her way to the ring, first Tatum's trying to pull the contract away from her, try to protect Lyra, she did last time. So I thought something like that was gonna happen, and that was it. And then Lola starts already. She kicks her. Tatum's out of the picture for the time being, and even Roxanne's like, no, like I don't want that. This was supposed to be like my one-on-one opportunity, and now it's obviously going to turn into a three-way. So there goes the opportunity that I had planned from the get-go. And like you said, thinking of like we have mentioned it before, there was only one match, the only tag team match they had that we had seen a little glimpse of the Lola that we wanted from the get-go. And this is only the second time since she debuted that we have really seen her give us a glimpse of what we really expected her to be from the get-go. Like you said, all those kicks, all the submissions, kind of like those like Naomi kicks. She went from one to the other, and the hip thrust, and then she did so many things like one after the other one, and the speed that she went to. I feel like she did so well, and I was like, yes, this is what I wanted from you all along. Where have you been? That's what I was thinking. And I like how she brought that factor now that made everybody think like, are they going to change their minds on Lyra retaining? And once Lyra was out of the picture for a little bit, it was her Roxanne. It made me even more nervous because I was thinking Roxanne's going to get that pin, and she's going to eat it for sure. That was my thoughts, being like, this is probably the last we'll see of Roxanne anyway, so it figures she's going to lose it. And just thinking of like, then we get Lyra coming in again, and then Tatum getting involved, and like that back and forth here, it just made me like that in itself got me at the edge of my seat, because we had, I think, like one or two maybe close calls when this was happening as well. And it was like those little moments that I really thought Lola was gonna win it, and I was so freaking scared because I was thinking I don't want her to win, not yet at least. But at the end, we still had I believe Tatum is the one that took out Roxanne at the end, and then we had Lyra doing her splash, and that's why she pinned Lola afterwards and still retained the title. But it's just the fact that we had like the factor that we had Lola coming the way she did. It's what it's what caused the chaos for us in this match, though. Hi, Millie. Thank you for coming. But I feel like that factor is what made it like a little bit like more interesting for us, because I feel like this match, like in itself, I don't want to say it was boring, but it's just something like, it's okay, but it's not something that I wanted to see particularly, because I don't like Lyra like that before Roxanne. But still, it's like at the end, it just made it interesting. I feel like now we still can get Roxanne to say, I didn't get my one-on-one opportunity because it got interrupted. So maybe she still gets a rematch later on. You're muted.
No, I agree with a lot of what you just said there. Most importantly, I think that we talk about so much about how NXT does things right with the women's division. Maybe it's a lack of chemistry. Maybe it's just a piss poor story. it didn't resonate. Nothing they did resonated. And that's not their fault. That's not the crowd's fault. This was just, it was an unfortunate situation for these. And they tried. This match, like I said, it's not sloppy. It's not bad. It's just not, it's not what we're used to from the NXT women, especially from Roxanne Perez. She tends to have exciting, good matches. And Lyra's been doing much better with having matches that we care about and enjoying watching her in the ring. So I can't even blame her. And the match was actually better once Lyra came out there. It flowed so much better with the three of them. I don't know why or how, but it did. Maybe it was just the fear factor of it all. Mark Talks Wrestling says he needs a healed Perez now. Well, you don't get it. No. She's headed to the main roster. We're probably not going to see her much. She'll probably get that one-on-one match at I would say, Roadblock. And then I think we're going to transition to something else for Stand and Deliver. We get the video package here. Oh, gosh, darn it, as I forgot the sub before it happened. All right, well, while we wait for Millie Rose and the ads to stop, I am going to go back to our notes where Astrid has the promo written down. A man has three faces. One the world sees, one his family sees, and the real one that no one sees. But that reflects the evil he truly possesses. I've done some research. Did my own stat research. And I can tell you this is a Japanese proverb. And it's a Japanese proverb about the faces that you show and the people that you are, and how the truest reflection of yourself is the you that nobody else sees, the you that is in when you're in private, that final version of you. No, Mark, no. This is not a promo for Okada. Just because I say Japanese, I do not mean Okada. However, I think NXT might have made a small mistake because there is somebody on the roster who I think this fits because they paint said face and they've recruited somebody else to paint said face in the background of a lot of shots. I think this is about Chinese superstar Boa. Okay.
I'll give him a moment. Just, yeah, no.
Dario says, or the face when you're on Twitter.
Oh my god. No, I definitely kept thinking though. Not only did I think of Okada, of course, but I feel like, and I told this to Mel too, because being that her and Andre are resident New Japan people with her Japanese wrestling update that we get on Fridays. But I was thinking, lately there's so many people that have not renewed their contracts from New Japan. And I feel like it could be so many of them right now. Because I'm thinking it doesn't mean that the person has to be Japanese themselves, or maybe they come from Japan, meaning obviously from New Japan for wrestling. So I was like, Tamatanga, Tangaloa, all those people. Like, there's a couple of like people in that group that have not renewed their contracts, and they're working on handshake deals. So they could easily leave in like any day now. And obviously we had the big one, like Mark mentioned, of Okada as well. It was like, who is it going to be? I was like, we also have Julia from Stardom. So I was like, there's possibilities there.
The drama is starting on the Stardom is not. Yeah, they just announced that the owner is no longer there, from what I understand, based on what I read from Astrid's tweet and my own, again, research. But no, there's a lot. There's another option to this, and I'm going to throw out a crazy idea because it's a long play. But Julia's contract isn't officially up yet. However, there's nothing to stop WWE from teasing her debut if she's going to come as soon as her contract's over. Because there's no non-compete if her contract expires like it's going to. So once she's done with her contractual obligations and any handshake dates that she's agreed to work beforehand, she can show up. There's no reason that they can't slow play this for a couple more months. And this may all resolve at, say, Stand and Deliver with Julia in the crowd. As far as I know, her contract ends right around March, which means it's in perfect time for Stand and Deliver. So it could be Julia, who is heavily rumored to be coming to WWE, who has permission to be able to go ahead and negotiate with other companies, just like Okada has. Okada, yes, he's now officially a free agent. He can do what he wants. But New Japan let him negotiate beforehand because of the fact that he had informed them he was no longer staying, and they respected him enough to let him do it beforehand. So it's not technically tampering, because he at least instructed them that he wasn't going to stay.
Yeah, and he's working either 2 or 3 dates after his deal now in February as well. Yeah. I don't know if it's one in March. I think it's 2 dates if I'm not mistaken. So if it's for March or April, obviously we have time for this.
Astrid, do you have a new gimmick?
I thought about that one too, Barry. I was thinking of Wendy too for some reason. I was like, we haven't seen her in quite a while, so I wonder if she's gonna go back to being a badass again instead of being sleepy anymore.
Is she gonna go back? What was it? Mei Ying, I think it was called, or
yeah,
the gimmick that she had with Boa and Xia Li. That'd be fun. Yeah. And Mike is correcting me. It is the former owner who was kept on by Bushi Road when Bushi bought them. I was waiting for Millie. I didn't want to go too far away from the video package because I know Millie was in ad hell as she was waiting to talk about Lola and Roxanne. I would just like to go back and say that I loved every moment of the women's champ. Well, you know what? We're all entitled to our different opinions, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. I know it sounds condescending, but I'm being entirely serious. I love when people enjoy things. Even if I don't like it, that's fine. I don't give a damn about me. If you enjoyed it, good. I'm glad you got to watch it. You know, because like I said, it as a match itself, I'm glad because wrestling is for everybody, and some things are for some people, and some things are for other people. How many people love Orange Cassidy? And me and Bobby can't stand him. Jay, for some godforsaken reason, thinks Jay White's great. I mean, you know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But Millie, I'm so glad that you enjoyed the match. Like I said, it wasn't a bad match. Oh, we do have a raid coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Get the tables for joining in. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you haven't already, please make sure that you go check out Get the Tables. I know Barry is a regular in their chats. So thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you all for jumping in. I can't even keep up right now.
There you go.
That damn Mello. Yes, we're going to get to Mello in just a few minutes. The Richie Vargas, STG, Rob on the Ego. Thank Just Lou, Babarowski, I think it is. I'm sorry if I mispronounced any of this. Thank you very much all for joining us. I hope you enjoyed Get the Tables live watch along. Remember to go ahead and enjoy us after the show every Tuesday night after you get done watching it along with Get the Tables every week. We greatly appreciate it. Millie Rose saying, I'm a big Lyra fan. I was also very sad I couldn't be there live, and it was aw, that's unfortunate. I know the feelings of things being close by and not being able to go. So no, it's definitely fun when you get to go, and it always feels like FOMO when you're not. Astrid's gonna ban the emote.
No, thank you guys. I reached my 100 follower goal on Twitch now.
Yay! Congratulations.
There you go.
No justice for Bello. No. JK, no. Astrid Pizarro and Ed Fries. Acknowledge me. You have been acknowledged, good sir. Or madam, whichever you might be. I don't know. It's just a screen name on the page. I really should stop saying things like that. Anyways, moving on. Oba Femi defeats Dragon Lee. Mike, bad Mike. We'll talk more about Mello in a little bit. Okay, Rob informs us he is a guy. Thank you, Rob. I greatly appreciate it. Mello was not Mello in a little bit. Let's talk about Oba Femi. Oh, Dragon Lee did exactly what we talked about with Shay about in this match. He got to show us more than just Obafemi throwing guys around. We got to see a lot of the selling from Obafemi. We got to see him in different positions he's not normally in. Now, granted, he is still just a big, strong dude doing big, strong offense. But it was different, and it showed us a bit more of what he's capable of. And more importantly, he did very well doing it. Astrid, what did you think of this?
I was so busy checking out the Taylor website, so I missed this match.
Oh yes, I did forget. I have to do that.
I had a little one looking at me. It's like, are you gonna get it so you can get mine too? So yeah, she blocked my screen for that moment until I checked her out.
Taylor ruins yet another wonderful sporting event.
Yeah, why not? Add another one to the list.
We got Richie Velo saying Mella is the victim. Oh God, they're really gonna hate us at the end of the show. Free Mellow Yellow. Tricks.
No.
Millie's just saying wow. And Barry's going, 2 hours being close feels odd to me from the UK, right across the street in that time. Yeah, no, in the United States, if something's 2 hours away, it's not very far and it's worth making a trip. Like, Ashley, you can agree with me on that, right? Over here in the States,
2 hours. Yeah. No, 2 hours I bet it to Tampa, so.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's totally worth going places if they're a couple hours away. We've had this discussion in Tom Colleyhue's Discord once about the difference between the UK. Like if it's 2 hours away, they're like, "Oh my God, that's forever," and for us, it's like, "Nope, we're fine. Let's make a road trip out of it."
Yeah,
anyways, I thought Dragon Lee had a really good showing here, but it made Obafemi look bigger. It made him look stronger. Dragon Lee's selling was fantastic. And in the end, while it wasn't the most flashy of matches, Oba gets a big win to continue his dominance in this division now that he's there. And we get to see more of Obafemi. The Oba feminist can rise up. I saw it once and I'm not letting it go, I promise.
I know you're not.
Mike Ref saying in Canada, 6 hours is manageable to add up a show. It's a bit far for me, but I can understand that one. Millie says, if I had a way to, I would have gone, no question. Aw, maybe next time. They'll be back hopefully sometime soon. Megan saying, more than an hour traveling and I'm complaining. Hello, Megan. Thank you for joining us. I greatly appreciate it. Barry, we pack sandwiches for anything over half an hour. MJK says, hell, in Texas, 2 hours is literally a drive.
Yeah, I was just saying Texas, it might be a bit, but yeah, sure. I know that.
No, it is fantastic. Get the Table says, how long can they go with Oba just being a power guy? Any issues with him struggling against Dragon Lee? Ashley, what do you think about that?
No, I don't think he will struggle. I think it's just a matter of like, I know there's only going to be a certain amount of people you can put him against the little guys, and then you got to put somebody that's going to be, I won't say his size, but like close enough. But I think it'll be just him getting that experience, and people like Dragon Lee can help him get that experience that he needs.
Yeah, I don't think that there's necessarily a bad thing with him having a struggle. I want him to struggle. Like, I don't want him to just be a power guy who just throws people around like we talked with Shay. I want him to develop more. I want to see more of a wrestling offense from him. And remember, he's still very young in the business. Like, he's been in this thing less than a year, and he's picked up enough to be the breakout star, to be the North American champion. I think he's doing just fine for where he is, and I think that they can continue to grow him slowly because I think I keep saying it, and I will never stop saying it. He reminds me of Omos. This is what they wanted Omos to be. He's strong. He's powerful. He's big. He's a big brick wall of a man. But he can talk. He has the ability to connect with you verbally, which is one of the downfalls that Omos has had. On top of that, Omos really isn't a good wrestler, and Oba is at least somewhat competent.
Yeah.
But I think he should struggle against people like Dragon Lee. That's iconic. That's what they do. Big guys typically struggle against smaller guys. Megan says, going to have to dip out. Have a great show, a great week. And one last thing, Carmelo is a shady bitch. Yes, Carmelo Hayes is indeed a shady bitch. Barry saying Dragon Lee would worked really well making Oba look good. His experience paid off. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree that Dragon Lee was what made Oba look good here. And that's fine. Every now and then somebody carries somebody else, and it's not necessarily a bad thing on Oba's part. But at least Oba does the things he needs to do to make it feel real. And he can sell, and he can be down for a little bit. Like, so many of these big guys don't know how to look like they're in some sort of apparel. And I thought he did good there. There's much to learn, but at the same time, things can happen. I will save my Melo when we get there. Richard saying Melo can't miss. Melo doesn't miss, and he sure didn't miss tonight. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. We are now going to do the entirety of all of the Chase U calendar segments. We get a segment early in the night with what's her name?
It was Kelly with JC and Thea.
Yeah, and they're talking about all the girls who were there, signing for the live audience in attendance. Damn you for only having autographed copies for the live attendance. Hopefully some of those will end up on WWEauction.com. So I'll be checking the auction site later on tonight to see if they don't sell out of the signed copies in the event that I might be able to get my hands on one. And, you know, JC talks about how great it's going, how much they're selling, and they start calling her a genius, and she's excited. We then get a segment with Riley Osborne coming up, and he asks Thea Hale out, and it is the most cringeworthy segment in the world. I didn't think anything would make me feel worse than the Josh Briggs, Brooks Jensen stuff with Kiana. This is going to be my new Kiana and Brooks Jensen crap.
No.
I don't like it already. I don't like it. Why is Riley so nervous? I get why Thea's nervous, but why is Riley all of a sudden, like, completely out of his element?
I don't know. Good question.
He's never been nervous around Thea or JC before. Not once. And he's had multiple segments with them together where they all talk. And all of a sudden now he's this nervous wreck who can't put two words together.
Unless he's faking it, then that will make me nervous. I don't know.
And then we get Lexus King, checking out his signed calendar, looking at Thea Hale's April spread, apparently. And he starts making some comments, and Riley comes storming in, and they brawl. We do find out later on that we're going to get Riley versus Lexus King this Tuesday night on NXT, which is good. We move on to Ava, for some reason, spending 5 minutes touting the success of the weekend, talking about Roadblock that Vic already told us about, talking about the Savannah show like she's announcing something brand new that was announced at Rumble weekend and that Vic had told us about earlier in the night. So I don't understand what this promo segment was about, but nice to get Ava on screen, I guess.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, she was competent and she said nice things and it wasn't terrible. But at the same time, the segment felt weird. Like, why was it happening? Okay, I mean, MJK has, as a guy, I will say, yeah, when the blood starts flowing to other parts of the body, sometimes the brain don't work so good. Yeah, I can see that. We got Millie Rose saying, I'm going to be honest, I have zero idea who the North American champ is. I don't actively watch NXT weekly, and I only keep up on certain parts. Oba Femi, one of the brand new breakout tournament superstars, won the North American title from Dragon Lee when he cashed in his breakout contract just 2 weeks after he won it, to go ahead and cash it in to become the North American champion. He is a brick wall of a man. He is fantastic, and I adore him. And I want him to pick me up and throw me like he throws those couches because he's delightful. Anyways, we get Brindley and Idris Enofe and Malik Blade doing their homework which, if for those that don't remember, because I sure as hell didn't, they had to write 5 things they did well and 5 things that they didn't like about the match against Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. And I was like, oh my God, that was like 5 weeks ago. How is, like, it feels like it's 5 weeks ago. It's only been what, 4, 3?
No, I think maybe 1 or 2. It hasn't been that long.
Millie says, all I know is he's a big dude.
Yes.
Yes, he is definitely a big dude. While they're going ahead and doing their thing, and I liked how Blade was kind of getting in touch with his feelings and taking it seriously. Enofe had no cares to do anything with this. Brinley reminds me of Thea Hale before she became tolerable. So I think the stuff is back around the NXT women's locker room again. Anyways, thankfully, Nathan and Axiom come here, and Axiom feels like an unwilling participant in this segment as he's sitting there, and Nathan starts running down these guys for trying to get in touch with their feelings. Like, come on, Nathan. What's wrong with you? Men can be in touch with their feelings. You can get in touch with your feelings and be a better man because of it, Nathan. Don't be scared. Open up. Be emotional. It's okay, Nathan. Just because you suck doesn't mean that you have to put it on the rest of us.
Damn.
Just because you're terrible and you can't win a match doesn't mean the rest of us have to, feel bad about that. We can be emotional and move past that. I didn't like this segment. I really didn't.
Tell me how you really feel.
I did. What did you? I know you love Nathan, so tell me what you thought of this.
It felt random for me. It's like, why do you care so much that they're talking about their feelings? It's not none of your business. Let them do it if they want to. It just felt awkward, I guess.
Axiom probably isn't there. They just stick the mask on a random jobber. I mean, maybe. I mean, he talked, so it had to be Axiom because I heard him speak. Because Nathan tried to get him to agree with something, and he's like, no. He just flat out just says no. And then, just like that, it's main event time. Main event, Trick Williams comes out there with Carmelo Hayes by his side. And the beginning of the end. This match is fantastic. The accidental blood adds so much to this match with Trick bleeding from his mouth from the earlier match, with Ilja getting his nose busted really early. It's not blood like, oh my God, they're like bleeding buckets. It's just enough blood to make it feel like a fight, to make it feel real, to give it a little bit of added oomph. And that's something that I think more people need to learn. You don't need to cut yourself and look like Ric Flair or Eddie Guerrero, like bleeding, entire crimson mask on your face, or anybody in AEW, to be honest with you. But no, like in this, it was, the blood was localized to certain spots, and it made sense, and it added to the match. Trick Williams, I want you to talk about this, Astrid. What do you think about the change in Trick Williams since we saw him on the first days of 2.0 to now?
Well, I wanted to point out that we did have a part before with Lola and Roxanne fighting backstage after the match
Yeah,
happened.
I don't care about that.
I do. Roxanne was looking for Lola, so Lola, you're gonna die soon anyway. No, I keep thinking about like the transformation that we've had from Trick, from going to like being like, I don't want to call it random, but like that one person beside Carmelo cheering him on, to getting involved in his matches, to now him being the bigger star than Carmelo is. I never thought that would happen, and it just felt like such a like natural, like realistic transition that I never thought would happen in NXT. And I really love that it's gone to this point that he's part of the main event picture now, because I never would have thought about that from the guy that was standing next to Carmelo most of the time as a shadow.
Yeah, we got a bunch of comments coming flying in here. We got Millie Rose saying, like, of course the dragon will be bleeding minutes into it. But here's the thing. Ilja always bleeds from like the weirdest random spots. It's like a random cut in his arm, or like his nose breaks or something like. But it's never like other guys who would just like cut half their like face open and he's like bleeding into. It's always like little things with Ilja. I agree, he always bleeds, but it's different than everybody else because at least it's always like some weird hard way thing that he has. I think he just has like the thinnest of skin and everything just bleeds. Barry's saying just enough blood that you sneeze out lumps all over the ring. Yeah, that ring was covered in little blood droplets everywhere. What is the name of the big forearm that Dragunov uses on people? It looks like a forearm that Dan Henderson dropped on Michael Bisping in the UFC. Yeah, it is called the H-bomb. I think it's supposed to be a reference to the hydrogen bomb that was dropped years and years and years ago that was developed by the United States. And I think Russia tried to develop one too. But no, it is called the H-bomb, and it is fantastic. It's one of his main finishers, but it's not the only one. Like Gunther, he has a few of them. Millie Rose says, damn. Mark says the Mad Dragon is the best, and Trick had to up his game to reach him, and he did. Yeah, talking about Trick did such a good job getting to the level he needed to be for this match. And yes, Ilja carried him a little bit, but Trick was just fantastic in just being there and being in the right spot every time, and matching Ilja's aggression and matching Ilja's drive and fight. It felt real. It felt natural. It didn't feel like a match that got prolonged just to tell a specific story. The whole thing felt right. Mark plays the champs didn't need to come down to Trick, and that's why it works so well. Yeah, I agree. Ilja brings people to his level. It's one of the great things about Ilja Dragunov. It's one of the reasons why I want Ilja on the main roster and why I wanted him to lose tonight. Sometimes, I mean, we both agree that Gallus is one of the greatest tag teams in NXT. It's one of the greatest things. But no, I wanted Trick to win for a multitude of reasons, but one of the reasons was I wanted to get Ilja out of here. Not because I don't want to see him anymore, but because I think Gunther has a slot at WrestleMania that nobody's filling right now. And I just thought that you could tell a very quick and easy story by Gunther coming out after Elimination Chamber and going, there's nobody here who can stand up to me. Nobody's ready for me. I don't think I need to wrestle at WrestleMania. And then out comes Ilja Dragunov. And he's like, no, you, me, unfinished business. Because they're tied 1-1 right now. There needs to be a rubber match. And I think it'd be the perfect opportunity to have Gunther drop the title and to have Ilja win the title. And then after whatever the fuck happens at WrestleMania, yeah. Hell yes. It's fine. We understand how much you love Gallus. It's okay. But no, I think that that Gunther coming out of WrestleMania will be able to challenge whomever is the world heavyweight champion, because God, we don't know what the fuck's going on with that godforsaken mess right now. Melly Rose, not going to lie, hearing an arena full of Tennesseans chanting "Whoop that Trick" was so cool. I thought it was great. That's the biggest arena I think we've seen for a "Whoop that Trick" so far, and it feels so natural and so real, and I love it. No, Ilja is not the last person to pin Gunther. The last person to pin Gunther is, ironically, a weird one. It's Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker beat Gunther when Gunther challenged for the NXT World Championship right before he went up to the main roster. He had this random weird one-off with Bron Breakker, and Bron Breakker got to beat Gunther, and he's the last person to pin Gunther. It's a weird one, but I always remember it. And as he says, Mark Talks Plays, I already said it in the chat, that Bron Breakker will fill that slot as Bron was the last person to beat him. I mean, I'd be okay with Bron getting the Intercontinental title match at Mania. I just think Ilja is a much easier story to tell. Like, Ilja's like, I want that title. Last time we went one-on-one, I beat you. And the first time you beat me. And there's a lot to do that. Yeah, it's Bron Breakker has a lot of weird victories in his championship lineage. If you go back and look at the matches he had, there's a couple of really weird one-offs that he's had in that stretch. It was just after he won the title, just after Mania last year, when he got the title back after the whole Dolph Ziggler run. It was right after that. I think he took on Tommaso Ciampa one more time. And then on a random NXT, he took on Gunther and beat Gunther. Who at that time was still Walter, I believe.
I think so.
Somehow Dolph. That's because Dolph's the best. But no, getting back to Trick Williams. Trick was great. I love the fact that Melo steps up to Ilja, and then Ilja makes Melo miss, and do the chop block to Trick's knee. Fantastic storytelling there. And we all think that's the end, and it's not. And Trick keeps fighting, and he keeps fighting, and he keeps fighting. And then, I'll be honest, I still don't know what happened. What happened with the referee with the 10 count when Trick basically won the match? What happened there?
Because I at that moment Carmelo was on the apron, and I forgot how Trick ended up hitting the referee, and Carmelo went down too with the referee. So they're both down outside, and that's when he hits Dragunov, pins him, and then we have basically like almost a 10 count at that point when the new referee comes in and Dragunov kicks out of it.
Okay, so that's what happened. I was confused because I kept trying to find it and I couldn't find it. I'm like, what happened there? But of course, eventually, Ilja Dragunov gets the win. Ilja Dragunov retains the NXT World Championship. And Melo hugs his buddy, and he's like, you know what? We came this close. We were right there. We came this close, man. It's okay. You'll get him next time. And then the graphic went up. And as soon as the graphic went up, I knew. The last hint of the puzzle, last piece of the puzzle, that graphic went up. And Millie's right. The Melo drove me crazy with those half-assed concerned expressions. And then he did it. The heel turn. He chop blocks him. He goes out. I was happy that he went violent, like I said he should in the pre-show. I'm glad he went all out violent on this. It makes it feel so much better that it's not just like a small heel turn. This is a definitive, anger-filled, violated heel turn from Carmelo Hayes. No, you didn't tell us anything. Quiet you. Don't make me mute you. But no. No, I think Mark did put the whole thing into fruition on the night of the draft when we saw Trick Williams talking to Apollo Crews. That was the beginning of the end for it. We have my buddy, the Canada dude. So the leather jacket was the first indication he was turning on Trick, just like Sean Marty. I didn't even notice that. That makes a whole lot of sense too. Yeah. And Millie Rose says, did I see right that Trick looked back at him and then he attacked him? Yep. He looked right back into his eyes and then he turned back around, and that's exactly when it happened.
I'm still not over it.
I'm just so glad that it's done now. Like, the turns happened and we can build to this match. This has to be the main event of Stand and Deliver.
Yeah.
I think it might be part of me wants it to be a three-way. Part of me just wants it to be Melo and Trick. And I don't know which one is better. I don't know if it needs the title, but I don't know that it can main event without the title. And I feel like it needs to be the main event. So it's a half in, half out scenario. Billy saying that was both sad and brilliant and kind of awkwardly done. No, I think it's great because I think Trick knew that it was coming, and he wanted to keep looking back at his friend so that it didn't happen. But then it happened. And the thing is, unlike Tommaso Ciampa, we all knew, all of us except Victor Taylor Perry knew this was coming. We all knew that Melo did it. So it made sense that they don't have to make it that much of a shock surprise. You can do it kind of blatantly with Trick kind of knowing it's coming because of the fact that we've been putting the pieces together for all these weeks. I thought it was expertly done as a heel turn. I think the constant battering and then him looking down at him and going, yeah, I did it. I'm the one. And then he put the TMG towel over the top of Trick. Oh, my heart couldn't take it. But it was a fantastic Vengeance Day. We're getting on the road to Roadblock. And then Roadblock is the final roadblock to Stand and Deliver. But Astrid, what do you have coming up this week?
Jeez, now I feel like I can't even think straight after this. You can find me again on Tuesday taking over with this guy right here. We're gonna talk about I guess what happened after this, and we'll see how Melo reacts. I figured he's not gonna be able to be in that venue because we're gonna get those FU Melo chants that are gonna be so freaking loud. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. But yeah, not much going on this week aside from that. We'll see what happens in the next couple weeks. I'm already working on guests for our Stand and Deliver shows and everything that's happening. So we'll see. So we see who we got coming up soon. But if you haven't seen it yet, you go by to not only the OLE but my YouTube channel. You can find our preview show with Shay as well, so you can see our thoughts before the show. Now that you've seen our thoughts after the show, but you can find me on my Twitter and Blue Sky as Astrid Pizarro, and then Threads and Instagram is Astrid Pizarro 20, and everything else will be on my YouTube channel.
And make sure, though, if you're going to be going up and picking up that Chase Shoe calendar or you're picking up some other merch, please use Astrid's affiliate link. You can see it right here with this QR code. It costs you the same amount. You don't pay anything more to use the affiliate link, but a little bit of money comes back to Astrid so that she can go ahead and she can recoup some of the money that she spent on Rumble Weekend last weekend when she did media. If you haven't, please go to her YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe and go ahead and check out the interviews that she did on Media Row on the day before the Royal Rumble, where she talked to Ivy Nile, Shayna Baszler, Maxine, and of course, the shoosh man himself, Chad Gable. So make sure you go check that out. And if you want some Astrid merch, you can go to For Your Wear. You can go ahead and pick up this delightful t-shirt as being modeled by Mel Ball Collins and the wonderful Mike the Ref. So make sure you go ahead and check out that stuff when you get the chance. Of course, for me, you can find me on Twitter at edfries12584. You can find me on the Twitch at twitch.tv/edfries2002, where you can find all of my gaming content. You can find all of my simulcasted content here on our local establishment, as we'll be having another episode of Marvel Talk coming up in the near future, as we are going to be doing the MCU Rebound series continuing with Iron Man 2. So if you're into Marvel, make sure that you keep it locked on either my Twitter or right here on our local establishment as we go ahead and simulcast that show on both places. Let's go ahead and check the comments before we get out of here. We have Millie Rose saying it was like when Dakota turned. We all knew it was going to happen, and it still hurt. Millie Rose says, I love that the chants weren't bleeped. They were not bleeped tonight. They will be bleeped on Tuesday. Mike the Ref says it sold out in 30 minutes. Wait, the calendar on the shop sold out? Or the calendar in the arena sold out? Bobby, hello. You're catching us right at the end. Hi, Bobby. Millie Rose is laughing. The calendar in the shop sold out too? I can't even get my copy?
Damn.
I should have waited for the Taylor Swift line.
See? What happens if you don't wait on cue? Mike, I hope you put that as a short. Him crying because he didn't get his calendar.
It's Barry Monkey jumping in. The only thing missing from the show is a 40-minute promo of Yvonne Wagner with the Stone family. Oh. My buddy Rob Von Pelt says I should have got two. One for you and one for me. Oh, I'm sure it'll come back. If it's in this... Trust me, if WWE does anything, they like to make money. We saw that on Friday night. So I'm sure the calendar will be back at some point in the future. Like I said, I'm sure if there's any left from the arena tonight, they'll be on sale on WWEauction.com because those will all be signed if they end up there. So I'll make sure I check that out. We are going to go ahead and we're going to raid. We're going to do a raid. I have to get the raid page up. Ashley, Who should we raid tonight? Who's online?
Let's see who's online. No, wait, no.
What about Lyra?
Yeah, I was gonna say, she's the one I got too. So
all right, let's go ahead and raid Lyra.
If I remember how to do this. Yeah, there we go.
So it's the parachute button.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I got it. I did it quickly.
All right. Well, you did it quicker than I did, but then again, I have to do it. So, all right. So we are going to get ready to go raid. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next time, and we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.